Hello and welcome back to Brand New Wine Stitches. It's been nearly a month. Yeah, life's been really busy. So today we're gonna do my WIP parade that I was supposed to have out before the new year. So Happy New Year! It's January 12th. I'm recording this on a Sunday. It's been one of the few chances I've had. So let's get into where we have had progress, where you guys saw it when I first started my Flosstube journey back in April of last year, and how many stitches did I get done on things at all last year. So we'll start with Mystic Mermaid. I started this on March 2020. She's got a total of 84,000 stitches, and I have done just over 20,000 of them so far, so I'm almost 25% complete. So far, she has had 2,275 stitches last year, and they were all done January, February, and March of last year. So I didn't have any actual progress on her last year. So this is where you guys saw her last, all unraveled. So this is where I'm at. You can see I've got the whole bottom quarter done. My goal for her this year is to get her to 50%, which means I have to do, I think, another 20,000 stitches, but I will go over all of my goals and plans, whatnot, later. Next, I have Final Fantasy VII. I have purchased from Etsy. She is a designer that's no longer doing patterns on Etsy, at least not these type of patterns. I can't remember her name, but I will have everything linked down in the description, or I'll have a spreadsheet linked in the description where you guys can see all of that information. I started this one in May of 2020. She's got a total of 50,000 stitches, and I've done just about 15,000, so she's about 30% complete. I did do about 1,216 stitches, so you guys did see her a little bit last year. This is where we are currently. So I didn't get a whole lot more done, if you can see my mouse, just about here, I think is pretty much all I did, was just this trail down here. So that's about it. I also have my next oldest, no. I started from my oldest WIP and we're working towards my newest. So the next WIP that I started was the Doctor Who WIP. This is started in November 9th, 2020. So this one I haven't said for Mystic Mermaid or for the Final Fantasy. Mystic Mermaid I'm doing on 16 count Cream Ada 2/1. Final Fantasy and Doctor Who are both being done on 18 count White Ada 2/1 full cross. Everything I'm doing right now is full cross. This one has a total of 51,000 stitches. I've done about 2,000 so far. I'm getting her to about 4.6% complete. I did do 600 stitches on her last year, but all before you guys had seen her when I started my Flosstube. So this is where I was at. I didn't get any further progress, so we didn't pull this out after I started Flosstube last year, unfortunately. But we're gonna hope to change that this year. So that is where we are. Hopefully I can get some more done and maybe get K9 finished. K9 is this guy right here, so hopefully we can get him finished this year, but fingers crossed. Next one I started was for my daughter. This is Smiles in My Cup. This is by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by, I'm blanking on who does the artwork. While I look that up, you guys can see that I started this one December 21st of 2020. I am doing this one as a mini Smiles in My Cup, so this one only has 75,000 stitches on it, and I've done about 4,000. I've gotten her to about 5.5% complete by doing 980 stitches on her this year. And you guys saw a couple of those, but not a whole lot. She is artwork This is artwork by Tamara Markard. Again, I'm doing this 18 count white Aida 2/1 full cross. And this is the progress that we made. Again, still working on the background. I still have quite a bit of background to go before I actually get any farther. So my daughter is constantly pestering me to get this one done, so we should hopefully get a lot more progress done on her. This next one I started is Aquaman. This one again is an Etsy pattern like my first three. So Smiles in My Cup was the first one I had done that was not by an Etsy designer. So I don't remember all of the studio names or the shop names on Etsy, but again, I'll have them either linked below or in a spreadsheet for you guys, or a document for you guys to link to or reference. This one I started February 2nd of 2021, total of 87,000 stitches, and I've done just about 4,000 and gotten her to 4.8 complete, 4.8% complete. And by doing that, I did about 280 stitches on her in 2024, but again, all before you guys saw it on Flosstube, so didn't get super far, just enough to see where the trident is coming in, which is really cool. So I'm loving that I have finally moved out of the sky and we're starting to see some of the actual figures and stuff in the image on this one, because I feel like pretty much all of my WIPs are just background, so seeing something else is really cool on this one. And then October 20th of 2020, I started a pattern I made myself. This is a picture of my late German Shepherd, Jalala. October 20th is her birthday. She was born in 2007, so I started this on what would have been her 14th birthday, because we had lost her at 13 at the beginning of that year. So this is one of my favorite pictures of her because she loved the snow. She loved being outside playing. The picture and sizing and everything I chose, we had about 112,000 stitches. So I did want this one to be kind of big, so that way it had quite a lot of detail, especially the snow on her face and all of her coloring in her face and shoulders, because if you can just see, she's got a little bit of white on her chest. So I really wanted that to be visible as well. I've done about 4,600 stitches on this project so far. I did 1,600 stitches in 2024. I don't think I did much in general. I know I did pull this out in October on her birthday this past year. So I got a little bit farther on here. And again, still working on a bunch of the background. If I finish this next set of the 10 by 10 diagonal blocks, I should be able to start the tip of her tail. So ideally, since this one is near and dear to my heart, I would love to get some more progress done on her and be able to actually see her on here, which would make me very happy. But moving on from there, this one is Kiss of Wolves. This is a kit that my mother-in-law got me for Christmas a few years ago. This is a Joy Sunday cross-stitch kit, so it came with all of the floss and the fabric and everything. So I'm using the called for floss with the provided fabric. I want to say it's 14 count, which I don't know if it's because it's a 14 count or because of the specific Aida fabric that they provided, but it is very, very stiff and very hard to work with. So I don't pick this one up super often. It does have a total of about 40,000 stitches, and I've done about 2,000 so far. So I've gotten it to about 5% complete. And actually, I'm realizing that my numbers there are incorrect because I did 2,275 stitches in 2004. I think I've done 4,000 total stitches on Kiss of Wolves. I can't see the last time I brought this one out, but here is the progress picture of where we are. We can see that I finally have the ear on the first wolf, which is really cool. We started on the back of the shoulder and the other ear. So slow progress. This is not any sort of priority project at all because it is a pain to work with. I would much rather stitch on anything else. I would rather stitch on some of my confetti heavy projects rather than this one, just because the Ada is so difficult to work with, unfortunately. After Kiss of Wolves, I started this Titanic project. Again, this is an Etsy shop pattern I bought. I started this one July 8th of 2022. Me and my friend had driven down to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee to go to the Titanic Museum, which if you've not seen that, there's another one in Branson, Missouri. I know it's in Missouri. I want to say it's Branson, Missouri. But they built the museum, obviously, in honor of Titanic, so you learn about Titanic, the survivors, a bunch of stuff about it, and they actually built it as a scaled down replica of the bow of the Titanic, which is really, really cool. So if you guys have never seen it, definitely look it up online, because the structure of the building is amazing. It's a really fun experience too. So if you're into the Titanic or interested in its history or anything, definitely recommend checking that out. This one has a total of 45,000 stitches, and seeing again, my numbers here are incorrect. I did about 2,524 stitches on this in 2024. I did work on this quite a bit throughout most of the year, and I got it to about 2.7% complete. So this is where I left off on. You can see that we've got the iceberg coming in over on the other side, which is really cool. And then we've got the cable wire going from mast to mast up in the top, and then we've got some of our smokestacks coming in too, which is really, really neat. Really excited that we are starting to get some of the funnels and everything on here. Can't wait till we can actually get down and see the top deck of the ship. So that is Titanic. This one I am doing on an 18 count fabric. It is 18 count Ada. It is a hand dyed fabric from Brandy B Stitch Me. I want to say it's the colorway Galaxy, because when I bought the pattern, I was assuming that I wasn't going to be stitching all of the night sky, so I thought it'd be really cool to see the Galaxy colors to come through. And then when I started actually stitching it, like, oh, I stitch all of this background too. But I actually will still get to see some of the fabric around it, because obviously the iceberg sticks out of the frame. And I think so does one of the funnels on the other side that I haven't gotten to. So I will still see some of the fabric, which is really cool. So that's Titanic. I'm really excited to keep working on this one. This is one of my more favorite projects and one of the ones that I really enjoy stitching on. So after that one, we entered 2023, where I said, let's start all of the things. I started Big Cats. This is a Tilton Crafts design. Tilton's Crafts chart. The artwork is by Tammy Alba, if I'm remembering that correctly. I don't have it right in front of me. I started this one on April 1st of 2023. The chart has a total of 84,000 stitches, and I've done about 20,000 so far. That doesn't sound correct. I think I've done 2,000 so far, but I know this past year I did 300 total, and it was all in January last year, so nothing that I would have had progress to show you guys on when I started my Flosstube journey. So this is where we're at right now, just working in the background, so nowhere near any of the big cats themselves. So just working on the modeled background, so keep working on the background for quite a bit. After that, we started Sea of Roses. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs chart. Artwork is by, I'm blanking, trying to find who the artwork is by, but I know that this one has 141,000 stitches, quite a lot, and I've only done about 600 of them right now. Got it to about 0.5% of completion, and I did 200 stitches this year, or this past year. The artwork I just found is by Selena Fennick, And I did all of that stitching again before I started Flosstube last year. So this is where we are. Again, these two are by 18 count white Aida 2/1 full cross. Unless I say otherwise, pretty much everything is going to be 18 count white Aida 2/1 full cross, because that's just easiest for me. Going on from there, we started Festive Feline. I started this April 6th of 2023. It's got about 300 some odd stitches. This is another Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Lisa Parker. I didn't have any Christmas charts when I bought this one, so I was like, well, I need something Christmassy. But also, this one looks like my Pixel cat. My little tuxedo cat Pixel. So I will try, if I have a good picture of her, I'll insert it here. She's not super photogenic. She likes to kind of curl up in a ball and hide, or she's kind of moving around and hard to photo. So if I have a good photo, I'll put it in here. So this one I did about 1,000 stitches on total. 400 of those I did in 2024. And you would have seen a little bit of that progress because I did some of it during Flosstube. So this is where we are. We're just kind of starting to get down to, it looks like one of the candles or the ornaments on the tree. I do apologize about the noise. It is January here in Michigan, so it's quite cold. My furnace just kicked on, so hopefully you guys can still hear me over that. But this is where we are on Festive Feline. Just seeing some of the pine needles and pine branches in the background, which is really cool. After that, I started Arctic Dreams. This is another Heaven and Earth Designs chart. This one is artwork by John Enright, and this one has about 390,000 stitches. Done 300 so far, and 100 of those I did this past year. I did those in September because I needed something else to stitch on. I was caught up with whatever project I was working on, so I just pulled this one out. So not a whole lot, again, just the background stitching, which is what pretty much everything is. So next I started Envy. Now we're starting to get into all of my Heaven and Earth design charts. This one is artwork by Marta Dalig, one of the 7 Deadly Sins, which of them I have all 7. They have about 244,000 stitches each. This one has 900 complete, and it's got about 4.4%, and I did 500 of those stitches this year, so this one got called a lot, so you probably saw it a few times on my Flosstube. The last time I worked on this was in October, so we really are just kind of working again in the background for everything. And then the next 7 Deadly Sin, this is Lust. This one was started April 30th, 2023. I've done 600 stitches on her, got her to 0.3% complete. She did not get touched at all in 2024. So this is where we were last year and also where we were probably end of 2023. So, and yes, that little white spot is actually one of the stitches on there. It is, I think, stars. I was very confused. Every time I pull this out, I feel like I've got fuzz on it, but it's actually one of the stitches. So don't be alarmed. It's not dirty. It's a designed stitch color. And then I started the Labyrinth Magic Dance. This one is a chart from Clouds Factory. I started this on May 2nd of 2023. It's got approximately 84,458 stitches, of which I've done 20,763. I don't know the exact percent complete on it. I am probably around 98%, and now that I'm looking at it, I don't think that those stitch count numbers are correct, because I did about 3,020 stitches in 2024, and I went from just the middle portion to most of it done. My pattern software, Markup RXP, keeps saying that there's a bunch of the background stitches that I need to do, but there is no stitches there, so I have an inaccurate count of total stitches and percent completion, but I do know I did about 3,000 stitches last year, so this is where we are. Not much more to go, just one last troll. Got to finish off some eyes and then the back stitching, and then this one will be done. So I know I was really pushing to get this one done last year, and then that just didn't happen because I was working on another very big project that had to take precedence, which I have updates on that as well towards the end. So hopefully we should be able to get this done this year. If we can't get this done, then I have problems that we will need to address another day. But this one, we're gunning for a finish this year. We can get this one done at least. And then Lady of the Flag. I started this one May 14th, 2023. Not an official American holiday at all, but it was Memorial Month, so I figured it was close enough. I remember I had to go to St. Clair Shores with my dad, which is about an hour's drive from here, because he needed a test for his heart, and I had to be there with him. And it was like a 5 to 6 hour deal, so I was like, well, I'm gonna take something smaller and easier to stitch. So that's where I started her. She's got, again, I don't think I corrected the number of stitches there, because I have the paper pattern that I took a photo of, and it's not counting everything correctly because it's slightly blurry. So from what I've got in my pattern software markup, I'm approximately 16.9% complete. I do count my stitches whether it's on paper or on the software, so I did about 3,567 stitches this year on her, and this is where we are. We got most of the bottom right portion of her dress done, or left, well, it'll be her right, the left side of the fabric as I'm stitching on it. We're kind of moving down, and now I'm starting to move over to the other side, the left side of the dress. So that's where we are. Hopefully I can get some more good progress done on her this year. She does move pretty quickly because it is the fabric that was created specifically for her. It is the 30 count Constitution linen dyed by Primitive Hair. I found her on Etsy, so I'll have a link to that if I can find it. I'll put it in there, but that is where we are. Hopefully I can get, like I said, quite a bit more done on her this year. And then the next 7 Deadly Sins. This is Avarice. Basically, she's Pride. Started her also on May 14th of 2023. I've done 700 of her stitches. 500 of them were done this year. Probably saw a little bit of the update because I did some more progress in the spring of last year. Got her to 0.3% complete, and this is where we are. So we can see just some more background and curtains and things like that. Lots and lots of browns and tans on this one. And then this one is the Hanged's Tree. This is another Heaven and Earth Designs. This one is artwork by Chris Ortega. Again, I know I've said it many, many times, but I love Chris Ortega's artwork. She's an amazing artist. I think I have like 4 of her charts, and there's probably a handful more that I have in my wish list that I would love to have, just because her artwork is so beautiful. This one was also started in May 21st, 2023. This has about 385,000 stitches, and I've done about 1,500 so far. And about 1,100 of those were done in 2024. And you would have seen some of this update. I got just up to about 0.5% complete. So here we are, more night sky, but we are starting to see some of the actual picture there, which is really cool because we have a bird and we've got just 2 edges of the trees coming in. So this one's really cool. I'm really excited about this one. So hopefully we can get some further progress done on Hanged's Tree as well this year. And then I started Avengers. This one is another Etsy pattern I bought, but I started this one May 22nd, 2023. Not as big of a chart. It's got about 139,000 stitches, and I've done about 600, but I didn't do any this past year. It's about 0.5% complete as well, and we only have one little Ant-Man done, so hopefully I can get some more done. I know Ant-Man is standing on Hulk's shoulder or his back or something, so hopefully we can start to see Hulk this year, but we'll see where we get to. This one has, at least right now, a lot of confetti stitching, which makes sense because it is Ant-Man. He's quite small. Like I said, that's what, 600 stitches, 700 stitches, and we have Ant-Man, and so we had to get a lot of detail in those few stitches, so there's a lot of confetti stitching. So, and another one by Chris Ortega. This is Amethyst, also charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I started this one June 10th, 2023, out of 262,000 stitches. I've done about 1,200. I did 800 of them last year, but they were, you would have seen a little bit of the update because it looks like I did them kind of over spring and summer. And I got just about 0.5% complete on her as well. But all background, so not even really seeing any of the ribbons up in the back, so just purple sky. So hopefully we'll get some more progress here as well. And then this is the companion piece to my other Final Fantasy VII one. This one, I call this Highway, and the other one Bust. They are both by the same artist, the same Etsy shop designer. So she had them listed as pretty much the same thing, Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I just call them Bust and Highway, so that way I can keep them separated in my mind. This one I started June 18th, 2023. It's got about 100,000 stitches, and I only got about 200 done. So nothing was done on her last year, but I got about 0.2% complete in total so far. And just the sky. So that's where we are. And then, sorry about the positioning of all of the words. This one is Amazing Animal Kingdom. Artworks by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This one I started June 20th of 2023. It has 374,000 stitches. This is going to be so big when it's done. I did about 1,400 of those stitches total, and 400 of them were done in 2024, but also before I started WIP or Flosstube, so no real progress to show you guys this year so far. And amazingly, we're about 0.5% complete. So we've got a bird. I don't know what kind of bird, but we've got a bird. So lots of confetti stitching, but this one is really cool to be working on because I can see things taking shape really quickly with this one, which is really exciting. So we'll see how far we get this year. Maybe we can get up to 100% complete. The next 7 Deadly Sin, this is Sloth, started on June 22nd, 2023. 240 stitches total, about 240,000 stitches total. I've only done 200. Haven't got any done for this past year to show you guys, and we are at 0.1% complete. So, not much to see there, unfortunately. The next one I started is the Rose drawing from the Titanic movie. The image is obviously crisper. It is the actual charcoal drawing, but I did have to blur it. So my pattern, my stitching is not going to be blurry, I promise. I started this one June 23rd, 2023. This one doesn't have a whole lot. It's about 66,000 stitches, and I've done about 1,200 of them. Got it to about 1.8% complete. I did restart this one, so I did all of those stitches this past year. Most of them were done probably before I started Flosstube in April, and I was trying to do about a thread a day or so on her, just the way I could get some progress done. It looks like I did some at least in July, so probably some small update. So Right now, we are just working on her arm where it comes up over her head, and then we'll be working on her face here shortly. So this is another Brandy Bee Stitch Me fabric. This is called Linen. This one's 14 count Aida. No, it's not called Linen. It's called Ledger. It's a 14 count Aida in colorway Ledger by Brandy Bee Stitch Me. So this one I did specifically choose to do on a dyed fabric because there is the quote-unquote background for this one won't actually be there. So it's not a full coverage. It's not squared off full coverage. So you will be able to see the background, the fabric behind it, which is going to be really cool to see. And then another Chris Ortega artwork charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is Songs Under the Cherry Tree. Started this one July 6, 2023. Out of 350,000 stitches, I have about 1,000 of them done. I did 4,000 of, or not 4,000, I did 400 of those stitches this past year and got to about 0.3% complete. You would have seen the update on this one as well. I pulled her out last in October. And again, more background. So lots and lots of background there. Our next 7 Deadly Sin, this is Wrath. I started her July 18th, 2023. Only got about 400 stitches completed, 0.2%, but nothing was worked on for last year. So again, this is where we are with her. Another 7 Deadly Sin, this is Vanity. Started July 22nd, 2023. 200 stitches complete, or 0.1%, but again, did not get picked up at all last year. And then this is Hocus Pocus, more artwork by Lisa Parker. Had to get this as a companion to Festive Feline. She does have a couple other cat ones that I am interested in eventually starting, but we have to finish things first. Lisa Parker has some really good cat artwork, and me being a vet tech and a cat lover, it just makes sense. So this one I started August 19th of 2023. I've got about 320,000 stitches on this project and only got 1,000 of them done. 600 of those I did in this past year at 0.3% completion. And here is where we are. So this one is really cool because we are seeing some progress and some noticeable things before we actually get very far in, which is really helpful. So we are seeing the celestial designs on the curtain. So that's really, really cool. And then I started Rainbow Dragon on September 21st, 2023. This is a chart by Artisy. It was a free gift if you have markup RXP. I can't verify if it is still a free gift from them, but I got it from them. I don't know who did the art because I didn't have access to the full PDF file, only the chart portion and the key, basically, like the very briefest information, the bare minimums that I needed. So this one has a total of 13,000 stitches. I've done about 600 of them so far. 4.4% complete, and I did 400 of those stitches this year. So here is our very colorful start. If I remember correctly, we're somewhere right about the cheekbone on the dragon, and kind of going in all directions on this one because I had to find the center. There is no background on this chart. It is just the dragon itself. So I started in the middle, figured out where the colors were going, and then was able to get my 10 by 10 diagonal blocks going from there. So that is where we are right now. The next 7 Deadly Sin is Gluttony. I started this one in October 21st, 2023. Only 400 stitches complete on this one. It's at 0.2% so far. I did do 200 stitches on her in this past year, but not a lot. So here is our update. More background. Most of mine, I just did token starts on this year, so there's going to be a lot of small little pieces of background. They're not going to be much of anything, but I know I didn't do quite as much stitching this year because I was working on another very big project. But now that that project is nearing completion, I should be able to get a lot more of my cross-stitching done and have a lot more progress to show you guys this year, especially this time next year. Hopefully we'll have a lot of progress. From the Black Needle Society and Katie Landis, I purchased the Schoolhouse Rock Sale. This one was started November 8th of 2023. I don't know if it's still available. It was available the beginning of the school year 2023, because they had offered, if you were making a donation to one of the employees' school wish lists, because she is a teacher, so she was looking for things for her classroom, you would get this chart. So being a 90s millennial child, I definitely had to have the Schoolhouse Rock. So this one is about 17,000 stitches. I did about 2,000, just over 2,000 so far. I did pick this up last year and get about 1,500 of them done, and got the first portion, because I'm still working on part 1 of the sale, to 12.1% complete. Now the sale is complete, but because I didn't keep up with it, I want to do it in the parts as they were called. So I am finishing up part 1. This is where we are. And then I will move on to part 2, part 3, so on and so forth. So I'm at 12% complete, or whatever percentage complete I said for part 1. This one is another Brandy Bee Stitch Me fabric. I think it's called Blue Sky. And I want to say this is a 20 count Lugana. I don't have it with me, so I don't remember specifically, but I do know that this is not an Aida. It is like a Lugana or an even weave, which has been different to stitch with, but it's also really nice. So that is where we are right now. And then I started Goddess of the Tides, December 29th of 2023. This is another Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Jonathan Earl Bowser. This project has a total of 171,000 stitches, and I've got about 600 of them done. I did do about 400 of them this past year and got to 0.4% complete. And this is where we are. It throws me off every time when I see this pink background up in the corner when there's so much blue in the bottom. But then I forget it's a sunset, so that's why the sky is pink. So hopefully we can move on from some of the sunset, maybe start touching some of the waves a little bit this year, but that's a big dream. Maybe that'll be 2026. We'll get into some of the waves. And then the last thing I started was the Storybook Sal. This is a stitch along by Hannah Hand Makes. This one I started May 8th of 2024. This one, again, I am working month by month. I am behind. It's now January, and I am still trying to finish September's portion. So as of September's portion, there was 7,297 stitches. Of those, I had 7,200 completed, or 98.7% complete. And because this was a 2024 start, I did all 7,200 stitches in 2024. So here is where we are. Looks like my picture got cut off a little bit, but that's okay. Just a little bit of the bookshelf is like 4 stitches that got cut off. So we've got the staircase, the romance section, and I didn't want spoilers, so I did not look ahead. I think this is horror or thriller, because obviously we have a pumpkin, and it's that white section up in the left corner is a balloon because it's red. I just haven't gotten to that area to stitch it yet. So this one I put down because, again, the other big project I've been working on, but now that that's done, I should be able to start picking this back up and getting back on track with it. So that is where we are at. So I have made quite a bit of progress on some projects and no progress on others. So What is the goal for 2025? Well, I set some ambitious goals. I'm going to be doing WIP Go again this year because I really liked it. It helped me to get some of my non-cross stitch projects started, like starting my Supernatural car, which I know I haven't picked up in forever. I do need to get back to doing that one. But glue and yarn, not a good combo. So did not want to start working on that at the same time that I was working on my blanket, which is what I ended up doing for the past like 4 months, 4 or 5 months was just the blanket. So I did like WIP Go because it let me get some bigger goals done, some other craft things done that I had been meaning to start and had just fallen to the wayside. So that was very helpful for that. So I am going to continue with WIP Go, not to the extent of starting new projects, but to get a lot of progress done on what I currently have. I have 33 or 34 cross-stitch projects, not including anything else that's not cross-stitch, like my Jurassic Park blanket that I've been working on, the the Evolution blanket that I put on hold and actually have to restart because it's so huge. So that one I have to do some mental math before I pick that one back up. So there's that. I've got all of my Lego projects that I got for Christmas, which I will show those in another video. So there's just a lot of projects that I have available. I don't need to start anything new. So we'll use WIP Go to get some progress done. So let me actually flip you guys back over and show you what my WIP Go board is looking like this year. Okay, so as you guys can see, here is my 2025 WIP Go board. I am keeping track of this in Notion, something I recently discovered, which is really, really cool. So we've got the WIPGO, and then you've got all of our numbers here in order. I can move them around and kind of mix them up if I want. So for January, they called number 11 and number 20, which for my board is Mystic Mermaid, which is going to be 500 stitches. I just put 500 stitches as my goal for everything. I am wondering if I put this down wrong and it's supposed to be 20 and 12 were our numbers, because I have notated in my notes that it's Final Fantasy, the bust is the one. So either I have my projects in the wrong spot or I have marked the wrong number. But in any case, whatever project it is, it's going to be 500 stitches. And then Mystic Mermaid will also get 500 stitches. So that is my plan for WIP Go. I also went through and did some calculations for my projects and goals for them. So I would like to have them all to at least a full percent. I know pretty much everything I started in 2023 is only at about 0.5%. So ideally I would like to get those back or up to a full percent. If I pull it up, I have actually the calculations on here. So how many stitches I would have to do minimum per day, and obviously because I haven't started any stitching yet this year, there would be how many stitches per month too as well. So some of them I have bigger goals for, like Lady of the Flag. While I know I don't know the exact percentage because it's not uploading correctly in Markup XP because it is a paper pattern, I would like to get that one to approximately 25%. Mystic Mermaid, I originally wanted to get a finish done on her for 25, but I don't think that's going to be feasible. I think that was going to be like 300 stitches a day or something higher, which was just not going to happen for me. So we said, let's go for 50% completion. Mystic Mermaid, Final Fantasy VII are both at 50%. Kiss of Wolves... Nope. Jalila I want at 50% as well, because then I could see her on there. I know I probably won't hit all of these, but this is what I'm aiming for. And then a lot of them are like 10% as well for things that I've already got a fair amount of progress on, or I don't have quite as many stitches. So most of my Heaven and Earth designs are more about getting to a full percent complete and then moving on from there. So I would have to do per month. Mystic Mermaid would need about 17,000 stitches a month. Final Fantasy would need 800, and then anywhere from, you know, a couple hundred up to 1,000 stitches per month for all of these projects. Am I going to get all of these goals done by the end of the year? Probably not, but that's something to aim for, especially with my son starting preschool, or not starting, but being in preschool this year. If my days line up and I have a day at home free, that is a lot more stitching time for me. The plan is that he's going to be in preschool again next year when he is officially 4, and he'll be 4 days that school year instead of 3, so I'll have more stitching time. So we'll see how far it goes. My kids also love their grandparents. I have their great-grandparents live down the road from us. My parents live just 2 minutes away, so they love to be at their grandparents' house. And the summertime, I can kick them outside and just be like, stay in the yard. I will check on you every few minutes, and then get a lot of stitching done that way. Smaller projects, I can probably even take outside with them. But they will probably run to their grandparents all the time, so it's great. I should hopefully have a lot more stitching time this year. So hopefully we'll get these goals achieved, but it's not the end of the world if I don't. So that's the plans for that. I was trying so hard to get my Jurassic Park blanket done before the end of the year. I did not make that goal. Again, because it's been so long since I've done crochet, and then I ended up starting a new way of crocheting for this blanket that I just didn't have measurements correct in my brain, like of how big this blanket was going to be and how long it was going to take me. So I was talking to my boss, Taylor, who is getting this baby blanket because she's due here in about 3 weeks or so. I told her I would get the portion I'm done working on now, because that's a big portion. Like, I didn't realize it was as big as it was going to be. So I figured, let's get this portion done. You can take that one for little baby when he's here, and he can use it as a baby blanket since it's smaller. And then I will just continue to work on the rest of them. And then when she comes back from her leave towards the middle to end of summer, I should hopefully have the rest of them finished. And then get them finished, get their ends weaved in, and get them all stitched together. And then that way, when she comes back, I can just say, hey, bring that section in. I will stitch it all together on my lunch, and then you can go back home with it. So 2 days ago, I finally put the last stitch into the middle huge section of the big logo. So let's pull that out for you guys to see, because it's enormous. And having it finally done was a relief. I do have to weave in all of the ends still and do the border, but the crochet itself is done, which is amazing to say the least. So, and this isn't even all on screen. Like, this in and of itself is a baby blanket. So that, once I realized how big this portion of it was, I was less worried about getting the whole thing done. I was like, let's just get this portion done, and she can have this for the baby while he's little, and then I will work on getting the rest of it done for later. So that being said, all I gotta do is a border and then weave in all of these ends, which the worst of it is down here with the letters. So weaving all of these ends, that'll probably be an hour or two of work, maybe 3, and should be good to go. So I gotta actually get that done today. So that's my goal for today. But then once that's done, I'm free to cross stitch again. While I've been away from home, where I can't work on other things, I did start another yarn project, but not crochet, knitting. So it got real cold real fast here in Michigan. My son is not super chilly. Like, he doesn't mind the cold weather. He likes hot baths. So, like, ask him, you know, we put the water warm like you should, and he's like, no, I want it hot. No, I want it hot. So he's my kid through and through, which is hilarious. But I also realized that, oh crap, it's gonna get real cold real fast, and he doesn't have a scarf, and they go outside every day for preschool. So I got out a bunch of yarn and I let him pick. I had a bunch of solid color yarns, but I was like, that's boring. Let's do one of these variegated yarns that I've just got here because they're pretty, and let him pick a yarn. So I had like a handful of different variegated blues. I had a couple of grays. I think I had a green in there, and then a pink and purple version. And my son, who is going to be 4 in April, chose pink and purple. All right, cool. Here's your pink and purple scarf that I've been working on. It's Purple Multi by Mainstays, I think is what it is. So it's a Walmart brand. So this is where we're at. Obviously, not long enough to be a scarf. I do have a little bit more to go, but if I'm riding somewhere with someone else, like if someone else is driving, I can knit this in the car. I've been taking it to work to knit on my lunch. If the kids are up, not crocheting and not stitching, so I will knit, because this yarn I'm not super worried about them messing with, because it's his anyways, it'll wash out. So this has been a very easy traveling project. So we've got a scarf, so hopefully I can get this done pretty quick. He's been having to borrow my scarf while he's going to school, which I kind of want my scarf back because I put a lot of work into my scarf and I don't want him to lose it. So got to get this finished so he can have his scarf. So that's where we're at. So I will finish the Jurassic Park blanket. I'll take a picture of it before I send it off to its recipient, and then I will be back in either 2 weeks or beginning of February. I know I have a vacation, or I have a trip scheduled coming up at the end of January, so I don't know how that's going to work and line up with Flosstube. So I will definitely be back before we get too far in February, and maybe I'll just do a monthly update for the rest of January, and then we'll kind of see what we can do from there. Maybe we'll go back to 2 weeks, maybe I'll just stick to once a month. We'll see how busy my life is, because that's also been part of the issue, is that my life has been super crazy busy. So we're already nearing an hour. I don't think everyone wants to hear my crazy life story, so maybe next time, if you want to hear why I've been absent, we will go down the life story rabbit hole, and I might have a couple other things to go over at that time. So until that time, stay warm, because it's cold here in Michigan, so hopefully you guys are staying warm. I know California is a little too warm, so stay safe in California. For everyone else, stay warm, stay comfortable, stay healthy, and I will see you guys next time on Brand New Wine Stitches. Until then, keep stitching.